Previously on db100, Yamcha suffered an embarrassing loss at the World Martial Arts Preliminaries, while Krillin and Goku suffered deadly losses on the battlefield facing Raditz. The humans learned 2 more powerful Saiyans would arrive in approximately a year, and made plans to revive Goku and Krillin. Piccolo attempted to forcefully reabsorb Kami to prevent Goku's friends from reviving his sworn enemy, and gain enough power to rule the Earth and repel the Saiyans himself. Kami resorted to necromancy and possessed the dead body of Raditz, resisting Piccolo's pull to merge their separate bodies into one. Roshi departed to tell Chi-Chi the news of her husband's passing, and left Tien with his latest pupil, Gohan. Baba escorted Goku and Krillin to Otherworld and saw them off for their million-mile journey down Snake Way, but Goku fell off the path and left Krillin to reach King Kai's alone, contemplating the past ways Goku saved all of them and how he's let him down. And now we'll answer today's question: what if Garlic Jr. was canon in Dragon Ball Z? Krillin clenches and adjusts to the altered gravity, similar to how he weaned himself to move inside the hyperbolic time chamber. Just as the monk manages to make it back to his feet, a blue deity in sunglasses steps out of the small domicile, sending Krillin back to the dirt in a deep, deferential bow. King Kai was even higher up the ladder of deities than King Yemma, and if his temper was anything to go by, this King Kai character would likely demand even more respect. Not deigning to make eye contact with the Kai, Krillin introduces himself and explains why he's here. He fully discloses that his planet's god Kami was originally only planning on sending Goku, but the wise and generous King Yemma allowed him to make the journey as well. Honestly, he's not sure what he's hoping to gain, sticking his nose in the business of the galaxy's Kai. He understands if King Kai was expecting a real warrior like Goku, and understands if he thinks this is all some kind of joke. Krillin looks up, and his nervousness and noselessness leave the Kai snorting with laughter. Turns out, King Kai likes jokes. Krillin is going to be a star pupil of his. He advises the new student to unclench. Time moves differently in Otherworld. His friend Goku may be lost, but there's still plenty of time for him to find his way back, just as there's still much Krillin can do to prepare and grow for the Saiyan invasion, and plenty of time for his allies back on Earth to make plans and take actions of their own. Having passed his first test with flying colors by making King Kai laugh, Krillin begins his formal training chasing bubbles. Baba rematerializes on the earthly plane. Her palace is a sight for sore eyes. Between rolling up her sleeves to battle Raditz, then immediately escorting their casualties to the check-in station, the weary witch can't wait to pamper herself, alone and in silence. Baba floats into her compound, dims the lights in her hot spring warmed by the Devil's Toilet, Belphegor's bathhouse, and cranks some relaxing tunes. Before the 500-year-old magician can fully recover from the lightly battered frying Goku's brother gave her, yet another explosion sounds from outside the walls. She tries to ignore it until the palace itself begins to rumble. She begrudgingly rises out of her bathwater to investigate as Bandages the Mummy bursts in, getting a full view of Baba's sagging, naked body. The old woman squeals and covers herself while Bandages averts his eyes. Baba shouts that he doesn't even like bats. What's he doing in here? The Mummy explains that a cloud of dark mist fell from the sky, and now everyone's acting nuts. Baba uses her telepathy to read the minds of the people rampaging around her palace. The fortune teller admits she didn't see this one coming through her crystal ball, but she still predicted it. She knew there'd be consequences for Kami mucking around inside that corpse, blurring the lines between Earth and Otherworld. She tells Bandages to look at her, but the Mummy refuses, scarred by what he's already seen of the saggy sorceress. Baba insists she's decent. It's not about that. And the embalmed Emperor turns to see she's clothed. She affixes her hat and makes eye contact with the Mummy. Baba hypnotizes Bandages preemptively, giving him a simple command: keep her alive and keep his wits about him, even if he's exposed to that mist. It won't work for anybody already infected, but it should keep her key people from turning. In the meanwhile, the Mummy uses his wraps to cover his nose and mouth, sparing himself from breathing in the sinister, corrupting fog. She commands the Mummy to locate his fellow fighters and use his bandages to prevent them from inhaling the mind-altering gas. He wraps Fangs in a modified version of his stranglehold attack, shielding the vampire's face. Spike the Devil Man is high above and using his Devil Might beam to stop the advance of rabid foes from all sides. The Earthlings had gone mad, consumed with malice and rage. He tells the Mummy he'll be fine. Focus on See-Through and Baba. Bandages asks where he is, before Spike uses his senses to search the area for See-Through. There, he tells the Mummy, before using his beam to explode an attacking human in a cloud of blood and guts. The remains of the man splatter, revealing their invisible ally. Still sane, plus now showered in viscera. He yelps when Bandages yanks him to safety. The others escape, but a mass of mist-infected miscreants overwhelm Spike, dragging the Devil Man to an underwater doom. Piccolo comes to, upside down in the sand. A muffled thud stirs him, and he pulls himself free, finding he's still in the desert near a human settlement. Despite the calm dusk hour and cool breeze, the village folk are rampaging and running wild like there's a fire. Boom! A missile drops from the sky, obliterating a dwelling. No, when the dust clears, he sees the missile get to its feet. It's a tall brown-skinned man. He has a turban, glowing eyes, and fangs. He sinks his teeth into the survivors of his impact. Rather than succumbing, the bite victims go insane, shortly growling alongside the first man themselves. The demonic villagers run at Piccolo, while the Turban Man leaps to the sky, no doubt preparing for another dive bomb. The transformed villagers leap toward Piccolo, one sinking their teeth in his neck. He dispatches the pair in one hit. When a whistling alerts him to Nam's re-entry on top of him, the Demon King stretches out his hand and vaporizes the feral fighter. His ears pick up a conversation in the night air, and he flies towards the voices. "Did you really have to send the entire population spiraling?" complains Nicky as he claws globs of pink merry-go-round gum from his white stalks of hair. Considering that all of this chaos resulted in a plane crash and one of the Dragon Balls literally falling into their lap from the skies, his master remains pleased with how things have progressed. Behind the minuscule master, Ginger and Sancho vivisect the beastly hide of one of Girin's winged species. Out of the entrails spills their 7th Dragon Ball. At last, my father's dream for this world will be realized, and Kami's precious Dragon Balls will be the very instrument of my revenge. Kami and those Earthlings would suffer for what they did to his father. While they're busy snuffing out fires or each other, they won't be busy stopping him. Piccolo spots the group in the distance and approaches them. He wonders if this is his son. Had his progeny hatched while he was knocked out and already carried out his worldly conquest? From what he's overheard, this group's leader does harbor some vendetta against Kami, and he's aware of the Dragon Balls. The light of Shenron bursting forth from the orbs reveals a spotted, light blue imp with an evil grin. Shenron offers his magical wish, and Piccolo cries out, hoping to stop this interloper from gaining whatever it was he wanted to wish for. But before Piccolo can even get 2 words out, Sancho and Ginger attack, muzzling Piccolo's words. Garlic Jr. successfully wishes for immortality. Feeling magnanimous, he has his men spare Piccolo. This cape-wearing half of a soul was supposedly everything Kami sought to rid himself of. Hypocrite. Without the power Kami lost in sacrificing this one, the Nameless One and the Old Guardian would never have stood a chance against him. If they kill Piccolo here and now, Kami won't live long enough to return and find Garlic Jr. sitting on his throne. And he won't have that. Bulma learns from Por that Yamcha is at the Tournament Grounds Island. Evidently, things went poorly, and he'd wanted to be alone. No such luxuries with the Saiyan invasion a short year away. As her craft gets closer, she sees smoke in the distance rising from the island. Were they under attack? Bulma dips the plane lower, trying to get a closer look, and perhaps spot Yamcha. She cruises across the island, surveying the numerous fires. Other than the people themselves going mad and attacking whatever noise or shiny object goes by, she can't spot any enemy or reason for this mayhem. Bulma wonders if that cloud of fog she flew through earlier is some kind of toxin that's driving the people exposed into frenzies of rage. She was already plenty mad at Yamcha without needing to be all hopped up on this weird gas. The scientist dons a protective suit and gas mask before taking the plane low over the tournament grounds. She spots the tiled ring and abandoned stands, and her face turns as blue as her hair. Yamcha. He's in some kind of glowing state with fangs and a crazy aura. He was tearing through the other rampaging fighters present with apathetic abandon. No. He was reveling in it. The ordinary fighter stood no chance against the viscerally violent Wolf-Fang turtle student. Yamcha's yellow eyes narrow to slits when he sights the hovering ship and the girl above. He launches a spirit ball at the plane, blowing it apart. But thankfully, Bulma bails and uses her capsule motorcycle to speed off, evading her pursuing paramour, who bounds after her, practically on all fours. Bulma dodges and weaves other feral fight fans, who pop out of the arena wreckage, looking to attack anything they hear or see. Based on the bloody and mangled state of some of these people, nothing seemed to slow them down. This wasn't just aggression. These islanders were downright demonic. She actually spots a number of bullet holes in Yamcha, yelping when he closes the gap and yanks the protective bodysuit from her back. Bulma wriggles the rest of the ruined suit off and bucks it back onto Yamcha. Hopefully that'll keep him busy long enough for her to find a cure to all this. Bulma turns sharply, putting more distance between her and her boyfriend. Not that distance was a new thing in their rocky relationship's most recent years. Normally, she'd be flattered if Yamcha pursued her so relentlessly. But this chase was leaving her the wrong kind of breathless. She weaves around a wide crowd of violent island visitors, hoping to lose Yamcha. She shrieks, seeing him shred the slew of spectators in a blood-soaked blitz. Bulma's bike hits an upturned cart in the middle of the road and fishtails. The demonic desert bandit wants to give chase, but a compulsion alerts him to the fresh meat. Man-wolf, the sometimes wolf, sometimes man that Jackie Chun returned to human form, was hiding under the cart that Bulma sideswiped. This was her chance. The intrepid inventor steers into a controlled crash, leaping free at the last minute and tumbling out of sight. Yamcha and the others will be attracted to the big loud explosion, while she can lay low. Somehow Man-Wolf survived the massacre, and appeals to Yamcha in full sentences, trying to walk away without inciting a fight. Bulma guesses being a werewolf already made him immune to that mist stuff. Yamcha doesn't fight, and Man-Wolf relaxes. But then, Yamcha lunges and bites. The wolfed-out man falls to the ground, eyes glazed over. Bulma sits stock still and triggers an alarm on her crash bike. Yamcha takes the bait, running in the opposite direction, towards the smoking, chirping heap. Bulma ventures out when the coast is clear, but a new noise keeps her rooted on the spot. Yamcha's bite didn't wound the wary werewolf, it made him wild just like the rest. Huge, hairy, and hulked out thanks to whatever that bite transmitted, the beast's senses are also buffed to 11. She sees it sniff her torn-up hazmat suit, then stalk toward her direction. She glances around for a weapon, cover, anything. Then, she spots her solution. No choice. No choice. No choice. Bulma steels her nerves for probably the hardest part of her day yet, even after Raditz, Goku dying, and now Yamcha trying to kill her. This was worse. She holds her breath and hides away from the wolf. The beastly fighter walks right by her, sniffing around within mere meters of Bulma. But before the girl is exposed, he promptly turns tail and stalks off to hunt elsewhere. But is he truly gone? Silence. No movement. Finally, Bulma uses both arms, heaving the heavy mass keeping her hidden aside. Was surviving really worth this? She kicks and flails, clamoring free from her dark hiding spot. Bulma coughs to the point of near vomiting as she shoots a dirty look at the even dirtier and disgusting Bacterian. Or at least the corpse of Bacterian. But it had done the job. The rabid werewolf didn't smell anything beside Bacterian's decomposing hide when passing by as Bulma burrowed into the grossest nooks and crannies. She sniffs herself in the fresh air and cries. She should have stayed dead the first time she died on this island. A gruff voice tells her to keep it down with the crying. She'll attract the others who breathed in that mist stuff. At least now it finally seems to have thinned out. Bulma yelps. Two gas-masked figures snatch her and pull her into the tournament arena's hospital area and unmask. The tournament announcer and Blonde Lunch. Turns out the announcer was with Bacterian and the other judges, and just so happened to be wearing a gas mask when that mist rolled through and all hell broke loose. The poor loser was just trying to appeal his loss to Mark in the finals. But now, he probably owes the foul-smelling fighter his life. Even sweet Blue Launch turned violent. Luckily, she'd sneezed eventually. Blonde Launch remained still and sane long enough for the announcer to wrangle a spare mask over her face. If she sneezes now, though, her blue-haired self is nutso. So, word to the wise. Tien scowls at the fat swordsman floating alongside him. They were almost at Corrin's place, yet Yajirobe, who's not missing a hand like the Triclops he sliced apart, squirms in midair, uncomfortable being at the mercy of Chiaotzu's power. The pale fighter still looked to be in some kind of trance, but it wasn't malicious. The tiny telekinetic hadn't dropped them when the sky went dark while they were flying over the ocean, so he probably wasn't going to drop them with just a few more feet to fly before they reached their destination. Yajirobe hollers for Corrin to have a sensu bean ready as they levitate closer. The trio of Tien, Yajirobe, and Gohan spill over the railing of Corrin's tower and on to the circular floor, as does a lot of Tien's blood. No sign of Corrin, though Yajirobe notices the tower's been disturbed since he last saw it. Pots and basins askew and upturned. He can't locate any sensu beans for Tien in this mess. But Tien's not preoccupied with his injury, and instead seems more focused on watching Chiaotzu. Once the levitating little fighter's feet touch the floor, he falls limp and unconscious. Just like his friend resisted death's pull when he was slain by Tambourine, Chiaotzu had fought off the madness of whatever had clouded his mind on the beach just long enough to rescue Tien. The crane fighter silently prays for his loyal partner's recovery. Gohan starts tossing aside items, hoping to locate these magic beans Yajirobe claims will heal his new companion. But Tien shushes them. He hears voices coming from above. Gohan asks to be carried. The unarmed assassin awkwardly allows it, and the trio reach the edge of Kami's lookout. Tien peers over with his third eye, while Yajirobe positions his blade like a mirror for a full view of who's around and what they're up to. Tien isn't surprised to find Piccolo at the center of this mess, though he doesn't recognize the other small pointy-eared creature with him, lounging on Kami's throne, getting to know Piccolo. Tien notes that his old enemy looks battered and uneasy. Almost on cue, Piccolo transfigures a fresh cape and turban onto his frame. He admits to Garlic Jr. that while it's not exactly how he intended to keep Shenron from reviving Goku, the newcomer's wish for immortality is all but guaranteed Goku won't make it back before those other Saiyans invade. Between this immortal reincarnation of Kami's old rival and the evil alien Saiyans, at times Piccolo wonders why he doesn't just abandon the Earth. It's becoming too much trouble to subjugate these stupid humans, what with them being constantly, incessantly imperiled. Garlic Jr. bursts into a brimming laugh. He loves Piccolo's candor, the ferocity, the yearning. The immortal sees much of the nameless Namekian in this reincarnated daimyo, back when his old rival was honest enough to express the ambition he harbored in his heart, back when his dreams for how to best preside over the Earth weren't so different from his father, Garlic Sr. Piccolo even sports the Demon Clan crest. Garlic Jr. informs Piccolo he's grateful. None of this would have been possible without him. Technically, Kami messed up first, nearly killing them both by trying to reach the check-in station. Honestly, what kind of geriatric guardian keels over from the exhaustion of someone else fighting his battles for him? Long overdue, hilarious to watch, but not enough to set Garlic free. It was only when Piccolo panicked, pouncing on his other half in a rushed attempt at reunification, that Kami really proved just how worthy he's been of the title of so-called God all these years, by resorting to the dark art of necromancy just to buy himself those precious seconds to recover. Kami's weak and reckless possession of Raditz's corpse broke the dark crystal seal on the Dead Zone, where Garlic Jr.'s father was imprisoned. Plus, if Piccolo succeeded in rejoining his godly counterpart, there would have been no Dragon Balls for his immortality once Garlic Jr. was out. From there, it was a simple matter of dispatching Kami's house pet and using the cat's other mystical portals to summon his Spice Boys. Yajirobe simmers at how easily this group apparently took out Korin. Gohan asks aloud how they're supposed to get his dad back now, without a wish from Shenron. Piccolo's ears perk up at the child's voice, which tips Garlic Jr. off to their presence. Garlic allows Kami's better half to handle him, as a loyalty test. Piccolo obliges. The two leap into action, but Gohan is still shaky as he flies. The boy evades Piccolo's attacks accidentally when his flight fails him. Gohan feebly skids to a halt in front of the immortal demon instead. Garlic Jr. kicks the boy over to his remaining henchmen, who promptly beat him back and forth like a hacky sack. Yajirobe slips off the lookout's edge and tumbles back to Korin's level. Tien and Piccolo clash. Unlike Goku, who was busy starting and then abandoning a family, these two have never stopped training since the last tournament. Piccolo's original avatar, the Demon King, had killed Chaozu, and whether it's been senior or junior, Goku's been the only one to put any of the Piccolos in their place. Tien was itching for an opportunity, and the Green Demon joining the rest of Garlic Jr.'s Demon Clansmen was all the excuse the Crane Fighter needed. Dodonpas crash against the explosive waves Piccolo unleashes. Stretching green limbs are batted away by multiple muscular arms erupting from Tien's back, some still missing hands. The two test their talents at the multiform technique. Tien's 4 clones grapple against the Turban Fighters trio. The clone combatants fan out. Garlic admires this newly cloned third ring to his circus, but grows bored as the battle drags on. Despite trying to tear each other apart, neither opponent has taken a chunk out of the other yet. The two cunning warriors employ the same ruse on the observing imp. One copy of Piccolo's, who's been charging a special beam cannon against his forehead, and another copy of Tien, who has been building up a tri-beam blast, turn their fire on Garlic Jr. Namekian is taken by surprise, but his immortal body quickly regrows or reappears, the charred and missing chunks of flesh the twin sneak attacks had blown away. The leader steps off his throne and takes careful time to beat down Tien and each of his duplicates. He'll deal with Piccolo when Kami arrives, his betrayal being the least surprising part of Garlic's day. Meanwhile, Gohan's rage snaps in the midst of his beating. He unleashes a wave of energy which wounds Ginger and reduces Sancho to dust. Piccolo gets an up-close look at the boy's massive power. For a brief moment, his energy spiked higher than any of theirs, beyond even their immortal foe. The child's remarkable strength fades away just as quickly as it surfaces, and he's left vulnerable to the retaliatory reckoning. Surprisingly, Piccolo steps in to stop Nikki from ending Goku's son, but all this rescue amounts to is punting the boy aside and freeing up a line of attack on the henchman for himself. Ginger and Garlic intervene. The young boy yeets by Yajirobe, who's still clinging to the edge of the tiles. The fat man grabs Gohan by the tail, and the two tumble downward, crashing through the roof of Korin's quarters. Up above, Garlic backhands the Crane Fighter's final clone out of the sky. Gohan levitates off his feet shakily before launching after Tien. Feeling more certain with every second, the Saiyan hybrid hooks into a tight dive and saves the Triclops. Getting his sky legs, Gohan shakily ascends, leaving his flight instructor with Yajirobe to heal. Using his ki to levitate and carry Tien takes a bit out of the boy, and he bobs in the air for a moment, catching his breath. Yajirobe encourages the kid to lay low, stay here with him, but Gohan can't stop there. Piccolo's outnumbered, and if he dies, then there's no Dragon Balls to wish his dad back. With the minimal mastery he has over levitating like this, the kid digs deep for more energy and wills himself upwards. He spots Piccolo's predicament just in time. Gohan gets deja vu of his own hacky-sacking. The remaining henchmen, Ginger and Nikki, gang up on the Green Man. Whenever Piccolo gets some distance from the pair of brutes, the observing Garlic Jr. heads Piccolo off and knocks him back into the fray. Gohan tries to tap into whatever strength he summoned a few minutes ago, but all he can muster is a baby blast that daintily detonates against the henchmen's hides. All eyes immediately turn to him. Yikes. While Gohan's attack doesn't do any damage, it distracts Ginger long enough for Piccolo to wrap an extended arm around Ginger's neck and snap his spine. Nikki rushes to Gohan and holds a sword to the boy's throat, hoping he'll stave off Piccolo if he has a hostage. But a green hand on his shoulder lets him know he's still not safe. The haughty henchman rolls his eyes, anticipating another Piccolo clone behind him. How predictable. This duplicate must be a copy of a copy, though. So dull and wrinkly. Oh, Kami's back. The Guardian powers up in a flash, a purifying light, and Nikki is obliterated. His sword falls at the Guardian's feet, where Gohan rests unscathed. Garlic doesn't mourn the loss of his crew. Quite the opposite. He's delighted to see Kami still has enough spring in his step to smite someone. With both halves of the nameless Namekian now present, he could properly exact his revenge for their betrayal. Watch, support, stay tuned for more updates, and support the channel for more story.